Yo, it's Noodles. Welcome back to another reaction. Today we're reacting to Could Kazuma Survive in ReZero. As an isekai fan and as I think one of the most #1 stands for ReZero, this video just kind of called out to me. And that's kind of what echidnut's videos do to me. He has been covering ReZero for like the biggest span of his channel. And he's tried to diverse into other content, but nothing hits the same way that his ReZero content hits. And hopefully one day I can do that for you guys. But in the sense of that, let's go ahead and get straight into this. I cannot wait to see what he says. I personally think Kazuma will die episode 1, but hey, let's see what he says.
Could Kazuma survive in ReZero?
Right.
No. Most ReZero characters can't
That
even
was
survive.
fire, bro. I need to master my craft, bro. The way he turned the 0 into a no.
No, most ReZero characters can't even survive in ReZero. But
That's true.
The question is, how long would Kazuma last? Believe it or not, he's actually kind of powerful. He's got a whole arsenal of magic abilities that helped him defeat
Create water, yeah. Okay, so I do agree that he has like a bunch of things, right? But is that fair to Subaru if you give him all the things that he's learned across his journey? Because Subaru came into that world with jack shit and he got packed up. So I feel like maybe you give Kazuma what he came to that world with. Aqua. And let's see how long they last. I mean, come on.
His stealth capabilities are surprisingly competent, and his luck stat is insanely high too. Plus, he also has Aqua, who isn't exactly known for being useful, but personally, I could think of at least a couple uses for her. Anyway, I think Kazuma might actually have a chance, because Subaru's best ability is Return by Death, except Kazuma can literally do that too. He dies all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I said that in my opening reaction for fucking Konosuba, bro. I said that there is only one other character that dies as much as Subaru and comes back just as much, and it's fucking Kazuma. In the opening, he literally dies in the opening, and it makes you like think about that. Like, yo, Kazuma be dying all the time too. Ares just brings him back, and nobody pays attention to that because it's used more as comedy versus it's used as a reality in ReZero, and it's funny as fuck.
Aqua just brings him back whenever she feels like it.
Right.
So the real question is, how many times would Kazuma die? Let's start from the beginning. Kazuma gets isekai'd into a brand new isekai called ReZero. Now, as you may remember, the first thing Kazuma did in Konosuba was look for the Adventurers Guild. However, that doesn't exist in ReZero, so Kazuma would probably wander aimlessly just like Subaru did until he eventually stumbles upon the first enemies, the 3 alleyway thugs.
The thugs!
Now, when they tried to rob Subaru, he threw an overhand right into a spinning back and almost fucking soloed all 3. But Kazuma would get absolutely
he would get smashed. He would get smashed.
He could easily beat them with magic or stealth away and hide, but honestly, I think Kazuma would probably bond with them instead. Stealing and being a degenerate are the only 2 things Kazuma really excels at in life, so I think these guys would actually become friends and bond over.
You know what? He's spitting. I think he would probably just use his charisma and just like win them over. That makes sense. Yeah, that checks out. That checks out. Honestly, he probably.
This video is sponsored by.
All right, good segue, brother. Good fucking segue, brother. I was like, what the hell is he stealing? All right, okay, all right. L Snipe, bro. What's going on? Damn, long ass G Fuel ad. Jesus.
Anyway, I think Kazuma would be on good terms with the alley thugs, and maybe even Felt. Felt is also a thief, and judging by how Kazuma got along with Chris and Konosuba, I think he would have a similar relationship with Felt in ReZero. However, it might get awkward when Emilia shows up. Kazuma would probably take an interest in Emilia, especially after hearing her voice, but the problem here is Puck. Remember that Puck is able to read minds. He can't read exact thoughts, but he can get a general idea of what your intentions are. The point point is, Puck would immediately expose Kazuma's degeneracy, and his probability of romancing Emilia would drop lower than Aqua's IQ. Speaking of Aqua, though, I think it would make sense for Kazuma to have her with him in ReZero, because she is technically the item he chose to bring with him on his
That makes sense. I'm not mad at that.
And if he didn't have Aqua, then this video would end shortly after he meets Elsa. Elsa is the first boss of ReZero, and Kazuma has literally no chance of defeating her without Reinhardt.
Because I'm genuinely, I want to see how this plays out. Because no Reinhardt, how do they win that? What's her face? The elf, Emilia was gonna have a really bad time with her alone. So no Reinhardt here. It gets kind of sketchy. And you just said that he would have a poor time with Emilia. He wouldn't be able to befriend Emilia because he's a degenerate. So how do they make it out of this?
I mean, what could he possibly do? Steal her underwear? It's black, by the way. The author confirmed that in a Q&A. Theoretically, though, Aqua has an ability called Sacred Create Water that summons an enormous flood that could fill the entire loot house with water, which Emilia could then freeze and immobilize Elsa until Reinhardt shows up to finish her. But that level of coordination is probably impossible as long as Aqua's involved. In reality, Aqua would most likely use nature's beauty instead, and then Elsa would fucking murder everyone. Gods in Konosuba are immortal though, as long as they have followers who believe in them. So let's pretend that this frame from the ReZero OVA confirms that both anime exist in the same universe, and therefore, as long as Aqua's followers from the Axis cult are still around in Konosuba, then she can just revive herself and everyone else after Elsa leaves. But there's a problem. If Aqua doesn't revive Emilia quickly enough, Puck might have already started ending the world. This means that everyone would die except for Aqua and Reinhardt, and the anime would become a hentai because they would have to fuck each other to repopulate the world.
Huh? What? Yo, total left field. What the fuck? How did we get here?
I'd watch it, except that wouldn't actually happen, because when Puck freezes the world, it's because he's draining mana from his surroundings, which causes them to freeze. But Aqua literally has infinite mana, so Puck would just endlessly drain it from her and nothing would freeze. Also, she can't get pregnant. Trust me, I've tried, but her purification just turns it to water, so the Aqua Reinhardt hentai ending is unfortunately not canon. Sorry, boys. Anyway, Kazuma would definitely try to pet this dog, which would bite him and give him the curse that would kill him later that night. However, Aqua can dispel curses, so they could pretty much skip this entire plot point. Kazuma would get way too comfortable.
What about the kids, though? Are we saying fuck those kids? What's going on here? Wait, because no. Yeah, Kazuma is free of the curse, but the kids also in the village get cursed too. So are we abandoning those poor children? Are we abandoning them? That's something Kazuma would do, but at the same time, he saved people too. So how would that work?
Living in Roswell's mansion, and he would probably try to do some weird shit to Ram and Rem. Although
most likely.
I don't think they would try to kill him because Kazuma doesn't smell like the witch. Aqua would just be drunk the whole time, aside from dispelling curses from the villagers occasionally, but other than that, not much would happen until the next arc. The royal selection meeting would be funny because instead of standing up for Emilia like Subaru did, Kazuma would probably swear loyalty to Priscilla the second he sees her. Just like Kazuma, Priscilla also has an extraordinarily high luck stat, so Kazuma would probably support her for those 3 reasons. Without a doubt, Kazuma would pretend to be hot shit in front of all of these people, and Julius would end up challenging him to a duel. We can assume Kazuma would use steel to disarm Julius just like he did with Mitsurugi, but even without a sword, Julius would still beat Kazuma.
Oh my god, that would be the most, oh my god. Imagine he steals his sword, he's like, yo, hi, what's up Dan? Yo. Hey, run them. Hey, you want to steal my soul? Run them fucking hands, Kazuma. All right, let's do this.
Kazuma's ass and embarrass him in front of the entire kingdom. But the real issue is Moby. I don't think there's any way Kazuma can beat the white whale.
I don't think so either.
If he had Megumin, her explosion wouldn't really do
much. It would bounce off of her.
The whale is highly resistant to magic. So without Subaru, I think this arc would play out the way it did in the Pride If story, with Krush and Wilhelm getting erased from memory. Unless Aqua can lure the whale away from them. Remember that scene where Aqua clapped her hands and attracted a bunch of fish? This might be a bit of a stretch, but maybe she can do that to the whale too. Regardless, there ain't shit she can do to stop Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse would either kill Kazuma or capture him and chain him to the wall as a prisoner. Too bad Darkness isn't here. She would probably...
No, because the only reason that Kazuma could get captured and tortured or whatever, or traded in or whatever, is because he would have to smell like the witch. So this is where I definitively will say Kazuma will die. He will die immediately. He can't do anything against the witch's cult, because as soon as they see him, they're gonna be like, oh, he's nobody. Shing shing, Aqua, fuck off. I don't they might start worshiping her. I don't know.
Would just be to use Lurk and try to hide from Betelgeuse, because there's no way he can beat him. Hopefully Roswaal would evacuate Emilia from the mansion, because his gospel should have different instructions now that Subaru doesn't exist in the timeline. Anyway, fighting greed and gluttony is obviously not an option for Kazuma, so
hell no.
Focus on minimizing
him and fucking Kazuma might be best fucking friends. Hey, Regulus, bro.
Might get his memories eaten, but Aqua can literally restore memories. But if Gluttony steals Aqua's memories, well, that would probably make her smarter. In reality, though, she might just be immune to that, because as a goddess, most abilities don't affect her anyway. For example, this one time in Isekai Quartet, Ainz uses Time Stop to cheat on his exam, but Aqua could still walk around normally. It was pretty funny. So I'm just assuming that Gluttony's ability wouldn't work on her either. Anyway, even if Kazuma somehow survives Regulus, I think his ReZero adventure would come to a permanent end after he encounters the Great Rabbit. I will say, Kazuma's a lot less gullible than Subaru, so he wouldn't try to pet the rabbit. In fact, he would probably try to run away or hide, but eventually the rabbits would catch up and have him for dinner. Now, the limits of Aqua's resurrection ability is that the corpse has to be somewhat intact. However, the great rabbits eat literally
everything that you got.
They won't even leave behind a drop of blood. So there wouldn't be one single molecule of Kazuma remaining.
Jesus. Yeah, it'd be bad. It'd be really bad.
Rabbit would quite
bro, that scene in the anime is like actually like mind-blowingly shocking, bro. Like because in the anime, it kind of just sits you there. It's no lead up. It's no, oh, this is finna happen. It just kind of like a rabbit just pops up out of nowhere. And what follows obviously is what he just said. And it's like, bro, how the fuck is it? It's almost like an Easter egg. It has a plot point later in the show, but it's like he found a hidden ending. and season 2 feels like that a lot. It feels like Subaru just be doing random shit and he finds secret endings that are always bad endings, you know? Season 1 had a fair share of those, but season 2, boy, it feels like we're playing story mode in the worst way.
Journey ends. Maybe the Aqua Reinhardt hentai was actually the good ending. It might seem like Kazuma did pretty well. I mean, he made it to season 2 with fewer deaths than Subaru, but the reality is that Subaru wasn't the only character who died in ReZero. A lot of side characters died too, and the difference is that Subaru was able to save them, but Kazuma wasn't. Kazuma left a lot of issues unresolved, and the side characters will have to suffer the consequences. So although Kazuma might be better equipped with magic abilities, Subaru's infinitely more effective in a group setting. I think the real lesson I learned from this video is that Aqua would be insanely powerful if she wasn't a complete idiot. She's both overpowered and useless at the same time. Like, imagine being so powerful that you're immune to time stop and then losing a 1v1 to a frog. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Sounds like Elden Ring.
Tier list, and I'll just give you a hint. So far, I've been very impressed with Konosuba Season 3. Thanks, everyone.
I like Konosuba Season 3 as well, but it's just like, man, okay, all right, let me get out of here. Let me leave. All right, cool. Jesus Christ. All right. I like Konosuba Season 3 as well. It's just that big brother thing I can't get over, but at the same time, it's Konosuba and that's Japanese, like, they have a big brother, little sister dynamic thing going on. It's the list of perversion things I don't really mess with, but that's like their thing. That's their thing. It's been doing it since 2011. It's not gonna stop no time soon. So you kind of just get used to it. It's weird, but you know, what are you gonna do? You gonna go over there and tell them to stop doing it? You're not. So yeah, I think Kazuma would have died a lot faster because the witch's cult, he's not gonna sense them. Nobody was able to sense them except the people who could smell it. And the only people who could smell it at that point were the two demons that have like actual trauma. And at that point, he wouldn't have even had Rem there because Rem doesn't like him like she likes Subaru. You know, that whole arc didn't happen. And then those kids, like he said, the side characters face the consequences. What about those kids? What happened to those kids? What happens to Amelia when the witch's cult, like, he hides, okay, he gets away. What happens to Amelia? GG's? Like, man, how does he even get to Sanctuary? Who, like it's so much, I don't know, bro. It's so much that is left out. That's not his fault, though. Like, he made a video, like, exactly how he could with what he knows and how he does it. I think Subaru did really good with what he had. And Kazuma would have did the exact same. If they like literally swapped, man, I feel like they should make a spinoff, like 2 spinoffs or like 1 spinoff where it shows what they would do in those worlds and how far they would go and things of that nature. I feel like that show would do numbers, but maybe that'll never happen. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like button and hit the little bell. Just show me some extra love. And other than that, I have nothing else to say, but thank you for watching this video and peace.